Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Observable Flutter. My name is Craig Labenz, and I'm your host. And today we are going to continue. Oh, I've got a little green screen problem here. Look at this. Don't mind me while I fix my. Wait. My camera's not in the right spot. That's the issue. Oh, there it is. There it is. Today we're going to continue last week's explorations and adventures into adaptive layout. I'm quite excited by it all. I'm also going to try to use the chat overlay that we made a few months ago on this very live stream. So I've got that running. It didn't work last week, but I'm going to try it again. All right, I'm into the app. No, it's still not working, actually. I wonder what's going on. Do we want to debug this first? Let me know in the chat if you would like to start by debugging the broken YouTube washer that we made on the stream, or if we just want to get straight into adaptive explorations. So those are our two options here. I see some no and I see some yes. I see some debug. That's clear. Yes. All right. Yeah, I don't really understand what is going on because I'm also getting no errors. Debug not as fun as bugging. All right, there's unanimous desire to debug, so that is what we will do. All right, let me go to my, let me get to the right window here. Okay, so I'm going to hide the adaptive explorations and pull up. Do I even have it here? No. Okay, I'm going to kill the running app, open this in VS Code, and we'll see what's going on. I suppose the first thing I need to check is just whether or not the API key is still the right key. I know I have a key. I think it is, actually. We'll dive into code first, and if it's not the right key, then maybe there's a print statement we can get our hands on. So this is the YouTube watcher. Yes, yeah. So how did this work again? Yeah, the API key. Presume. Oh no, I don't even use this anymore. I think we can get rid of this. Is that right? Did introduce some problems. Isn't the API key supposed to be pulled from the input? Like the home screen has, values input where we enter an API key. Oh, boy, could that be the problem if the API key that it's using isn't the one that is input from the home screen. Yeah, though it is not off to a good start here. All right, let's go back to the value input and see how does this work. So we have the screen, and when we click save, so here's a big on press. That's good. So the values repo gets the API key and saves it. Wonderful. So the values repo gets an API key. See, everyone's talking about all this vibe coding excitement, but like, you know what is just kind of crazy nonsense code? Like this. Why would this line exist in this way? It doesn't make any sense to me. But that's what Gemini wrote. All right, so then in the save API key, it just goes into shared preferences. That's great. That's good. And then is it ever pulled out of here? Oh, it's just saved on this value. So how is it read? Like I don't see it. I got this initialize here. Oh, that's okay. In initialize, we pull it out of shared preferences. Good. So what seems to be the problem is that the YouTube comment stream is pulling in this API key file and is then using that instead of what was in the values repo. So let's try that. Do I have a values repo available? No. How did this ever work? Don't you love when you look at your own code and you're like, how did this ever work? Checking chat real quick here. What does this thing do or should? Well, it should pull in all of the chat messages that you're typing. And then I should be able to click on them, and it writes a file to disk where OBS is watching for an image overlay, and that's how I show chat when I don't stream through StreamYard. So I'm going to close this values input screen. I don't care about that. So in the YouTube comment stream, we need a values repository. So let's see if there's like a provider or anything that might. Yeah, so in the chat screen, that makes sense. Chat data. Okay, chat screen, here we are. So we get a chat block. Guessing the chat block has the chat repository. Here we go, here's the block. You have a values repository? No. This is crazy. Oh, the YouTube comment stream. This is the file that we had open. Okay, so I'm not seeing. Well, let's see if this is just instantiated anywhere. So we've got the constructor, and then with oh, I need to be using get it. All right, but I don't think I am anywhere. Let me get rid of this. Yeah, are we pulling it out of get it anywhere? Here we go, value screen. Oh, values repo. That's good. That's just on the values screen so that I can we can populate the inputs. So I definitely need to have this line of code over on in the place where it's actually used. This is so funny. I bet this worked briefly because for a time, the hard-coded API key was the same as the one that I was putting in the input, and so it seemed to work. That is a brittle system to rely upon, and I am thus not surprised that it didn't last. So let's make a new one. Final values repo, and that'll be of type this. Cursor, please move to the correct spot. I'm typing semicolons and nothing's happening. This is extraordinarily confusing. Let's bring in get it, bring in the values repository. Q Randall being like, well, if you were using RiverPod. Let me look at the chat and see if he has in fact said that. Oh, he hasn't yet. It's coming. We know it. All right. So I'm missing an identifier. Aha. Yeah. So this is where we would say values repo.api key. That's good. Now, what is our other? Here we go. I got another thing here. Get chat messages. This is in the same thing. Values repo.api key. And is we formatted? Okay. Yeah, we're formatted. Seems good. Let's get rid of some of these that we apparently don't need. Definitely not getting rid of those prints, let me tell you what. All right, let's give it a go. Not clean, that'll make it take a lot longer. Signals, not RiverPod. Whoa. You know what? Rody asked me if he could come on and talk about signals with everyone, and I said yes. And then I guess we both just forgot about it. So let me follow up with Rody because we got to get some more, got to get some signals talk on here. All right, I'm pressing save. Still nothing happening. So let's see here. I'm going to print the URL that we hit and then just like put that in a browser. Print URL.toString. And let's see if we get. All right, so here's our API. Copy. Putting this in a window. Invalid argument. API key is not valid. Oh, look at that. That do be the problem. Don't it? All right. You'll have to wait just a moment while I make a new API key. All right, so here I'm going to go to Google Cloud. Yes. History is remembered. Go. API key. Oh, wait, no, yeah, it's there. See the problem. I guess I'm just going to get rid of it and make a new one because, oh, I don't know actually if this is the one that's in the value. Okay, so I've copied the API key. I'm restarting the app. Now I'm going to paste the API key here, save, and I think it's the same. Copy, pasting the URL, still an invalid API key. Odd. Let's create new credentials, API key. This will be unrestricted because I don't care. We'll call it the YouTube watcher key. Hopefully it'll work. Make it. Copy. Now we go back to here. We restart the app. I paste in the value. Boop. I do have the correct video ID. Save. Uh-oh, what is going on? Did something like change with the API or something? Copy. Oh, nope. This one gave a response. Look at this. It's not an invalid response, but it's also not like a helpful response. So what is the deal there? Huh. So this is the get live chat ID. That's fine. And then the get chat messages. Oh, this is what I should be printing. What on earth is happening? We're not even calling get chat messages? Are you all seeing this? This is absolute madness. Oh, Rhodey's already been on hump day too. Nice. Well, I'm behind the times. Also, why isn't get chat messages getting called? How did this ever work? What is happening? Get live chat ID. So if the live chat ID is not null, oh, is the live chat ID null? And we'll go in here a little bit. Let's see here. So it was, oh, okay, all right. Do I still have that window up? I think I closed it. No. Where's the URL here? Let's print both URLs. Oh gosh, I'm just off to the best start. Couldn't exactly test this off screen, off stream, because I needed a stream to live chat ID null. Okay, that's our problem. Copy as HTML. No, just copy, paste. Okay, so here is our actual thing. Where would the like live chat ID be? I don't even know. This is trying to look in items, and there is items. That's good. And then if it's not empty, it looks at the 0th index, live streaming details. There it is. And it just doesn't have the active live chat ID. I think Randall, you're saying you think the ongoing getting of messages was a bug, but it did work. So yeah, the active live chat ID key is just very clearly not there. So now you all have to wait for a second while I go into the back end of YouTube and see if I need to check a button. Content, live, this very stream, customize. Live chat is checked. Also, we're all talking to each other, so I don't really understand what is going on. And I'm done worrying about it. Let's do some responsive stuff because maybe this API changed. Yeah, AI hallucination having, well, I mean, it worked before, so I think like something changed. Do I have the stream ID? I do have the correct stream ID. That's pulled out of, oh, so someone, yeah, talking about the ID. I mean, we could try the ID. Did I close that tab already? Let's see here. I don't think it's going to work, but we can try it. Copy, paste. All right, I'm grabbing that ID value, which, anyway, so that would be, it would just be ID here. That's how that would go. Don't think it's going to work, but we'll see. Where is the app? There we are. Save. So now we have a live chat ID. But invalid token. Yeah. So we have a fake live chat ID, which is ungood. All right. Who wants to do some responsive stuff? Wait, someone says wrong YouTube ID. Well, I don't think so, but I guess that's worth double checking. The live chat ID printed is not the one you input in the UI. Yeah, okay. So there's a lot of different IDs. It's all bananas here. What? The way I have gotten this ID in the past, right? So this is the video ID, which I'm 99% sure comes from the URL. So I am just grabbing this, like, at the risk of infinitely windowing here, infinite mirror. This is the ID that I believe has to go on this screen. And so that goes here. That's my understanding. Oh, am I sure that's being used? Ooh, that's a good question, because boy, was the other one not. Okay, so that is such a good question. The video ID is passed into this method, and it's passed into initialize. No, it's not passed into initialize. Where do you come from? Oh my gosh, this is why I don't like vibe coding. Crazy. Chat screen. Get out of here. So boy, do we need to use the values repos video ID. I guess we'll just say if is not null. Then we'll do all this. Man, what a stroke of genie from somebody there. That was great. Else, let's print no video ID in the repo. Refresh. Oh my gosh, this might actually work. Oh yeah. It might work. Okay, who said that? Who said that? The goo dev. Are you sure that's being used? I wasn't sure, it turns out. Okay, back to the app. We have the thing. Do it. Do it. Straight them down. Now there's a 5-second periodic timer. So let's go find the most important message of the stream, which was where the goo dev said, are you sure that's being used? Image successfully saved. Let's see, is OBS still using it? Where is OBS? There's so many. Okay, OBS. Oh no, OBS isn't showing the image. Okay, let me bring in OBS. Wait, where'd you go, OBS? Okay, here's OBS. Oh, good, nice. Infinite mirror, can't do that. Let's see here. Where is the chat overlay? There it is. So let's go properties here. Yeah. Browse. It isn't. Okay, how do I? Oh man, this is going to be really tedious. So I have to go into like the documents path for this. You know, it turns out I did not really productionize this app very well. This is not very bulletproof. It's not very good. Other than that, everything's perfect. Okay, so I need to go. Where's like the click handler for this? That was probably in the chat block, right? Yes. So on a select message, on select message, wait a minute. This doesn't even do anything. Randall, didn't we like make this app? What is going on? Does it not write the image to the spot? Am I losing my mind? Sound is low. I'm going to turn the gain up a little bit. Let me know if it's a little too loud at any point. Yeah, it was working at one point. It doesn't even write the image to the spot. It just updates the UI. Okay. This is just really, really silly. Where would that have been? I remember it was like, you have to find the render object and then do that. And so I wonder if I can literally search for render object. Okay. Global key. Here we go. Image saver. Yeah. So, the widget actually does this. Okay, so check for initial file. Interesting. Also, let's make sure the image saver is being used. It just has a child. Okay, chat bubble. Yeah. If it's selected, we use the image saver. Okay, good. Now, so when we try to clear the image, if it doesn't exist, then we printed this. Good stuff. All right, save image. I can't claim Gemini wrote that message, I don't think. So save image, here we go. Let's print saving image to image path. Grab the UI, pick a new one, and it says it's saving the image. com.example.app, that is not the path that is in. That is not the path that is in OBS. Please let me paste the new one. Okay, it did. Good. That didn't work though. So now let's make sure this image actually exists. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing any of this? This is the worst project I have ever worked on in my life. Okay, it works. The files are in the computer. So then I configure that in OBS. I see the big red box in OBS right now. Filters. It's on the top of the Z index. Let's see, properties here. No, it didn't update. It didn't actually paste. Why? Why? Okay, I know what I'm going to do. I know what I think I know. I think I know. Got to go here. Got to grab this. There's the image. And now I drag this into the file thing. And that selected it. And there we go. I'm sorry. Oh, I apologize. Did I make that work? Okay, now let's duplicate. No, I don't actually care about that. But I do need this on the full host. So this one, ooh, okay, it's a little awkward here. Let's try one of these numbers. Yeah, maybe that's good. Sure. I do remember having an aspect ratio problem with this in the extreme. That, you know, it's going to be rough to get that sorted out for any different aspect ratio. Oh, wait a minute. No, this one works better. Okay, whatever. I don't care. We're just going on this screen from now on. And the problem was manyfold, but is now fixed. And now I need to remove this chat message by clicking it, and it goes away. And it should come back, and it goes away. And it comes back, and it goes away. And it switches? Okay. Too easy. Too easy, folks. So, let me switch back to, if I can find my cursor. Let's switch back to chat here, see what you're all going on about. What is he building, Abdul asks. Well, that would be, don't really know yet. I was supposed to do something else, but now the chat overlay thing works. And originally it was going to be some adaptive stuff, but maybe you need to discuss the Flutter team to make this screenshot as as Flutter's icon. I'm not sure which screenshot you're thinking about. I don't know if you mean like my background, like this, or what? Can we get a GitHub link to this project? Yeah, absolutely. That was another thing that StreamYard was good at that I've just summarily walked away from, was like random banner overlays. So it is at github.com/Craig Labenz, my name, and then there is an Observable Flutter repository. In the old days, before I started to outsmart myself, and when I used StreamYard, there was a button I could click that would show that URL on the screen. But since then, I have decided that I wanted to outsmart myself. Have I checked the Arcane package? Is that on pub? Let's see here. Pub.dev, packages, Arcane. I don't know if you can all hear this in the background. My wife is listening to Zoran Mamdani's speech. I can hear it. Oh, what's this? It's got some Shad CN, so you sure know how to butter up a girl. Let me tell you. Magic the Gathering Tesseract? Arcane Window? What does it do, though, other than, like, hit all of my favorite memes? It's a modified fork of Shadcyan and includes resources and merge code from phosphor icons and ionicons. It is designed for quickly creating apps. Is it just Shadcyan with more icons? Is that what we're dealing with? Mamdani? Wait, what did I say? I'm not a New Yorker, so I haven't been paying a ton of attention other than, of course, he's the best. Pedro, I thought YouTube was acting up because I was just watching your Redemptive UI past stream from October 30th. Oh, well, welcome back to the present day. Yeah, I should actually be using this, shouldn't I? Clicking things. Although the funny thing when I use the app here is it just shows all the things so that I can click one and it's a little redundant. Wait, is it showing up? It is showing up. Great. Okay. Anyway, yeah, welcome back to the future. Oh, why don't you use StreamYard anymore? You know, it supports this overlay mode you have. Yeah. I don't use StreamYard because the video quality is just really bad. And I've emailed them a million times and said, can you please increase the resolution and the bit rate and all the things? And there's like a key refresh rate as well that gets rid of ghosting. And all of those values are turned down. Oh, Eric, you're just the best. Thank you. All those values are just turned down very low on StreamYard. Oh, I said it correctly, but it's just a phrase. Oh, so the phrase, oh, I see. So like, is a rallying cry that you just say the string name is Mamdani? Is that what's going on? Again, I'm going to need some New Yorker education. All right, let's look at some adaptive UI stuff. And what I said I was going to do at the end of last week was, here, I need this window, and I was going to go to Stitch and just make a really simple UI, and then we're going to explore like the same UI in a mobile and desktop mode, and then we're going to explore handling that. So that is the goal. So let me go back to the right window. Here we are. And I want to make a very simple UI. What should I make? Let's do maybe just like a user's profile in a, no, I want even simpler than that. Just like a lo-fi design, or like a lo-fi mock-up for for a blog. That's it. That's the simplest thing there is. A lo-fi mock-up for a blog. And it looks like we're starting with mobile, so then I'll add desktop. You can see here, I keep trying to get Stitch to make me like a personal website that I'm happy with, and it keeps making me a personal website that I am unhappy with. So I don't have a refreshed personal website still. Simon, am I using OBS? Yeah, I've always used OBS, but then I was piping my OBS virtual camera into StreamYard, and now I am instead clicking the Start Streaming button in OBS and going straight to YouTube. Can I please explain the flow again? How does clicking the comment show it on your screen? Yeah. So clicking the comment writes a file to disk in the like document, you know, just use the path provider package from pub to get the documents folder for the macOS app. And it writes a file to that spot. And then in OBS, I have an image overlay set up, which is waiting to just show an image at that spot. So when there is a file in that location, OBS shows it. When there's not a file in that location, OBS doesn't show anything. Dr. Hurry, finally something interesting coming up. Oh boy. Well, wait till you discover that this too will not be interesting. We're not exactly getting much of a design here, are we? Did it do anything? I don't think it did. A lo-fi mock-up for a blog. What's going on? It literally didn't make anything. There we go. So I write the file with the same name every time. Yes, that is absolutely key. Same name every time. Otherwise, I would have to, yeah, OBS would struggle. It's very creatively called image.ping. So can't miss it. In the words of one of my favorite movies, the Three Amigos, where Chevy Chase, Steve Martin, who I really, really love, Martin Short, also delightful. They're walking through the Mexican desert looking for the fortress of El Guapo, and they've got this ridiculous set of steps that they have to follow to reach the fortress because it's hidden, you know. It's one of those like you can only find it if you've already been there situations. And one of the first things they have to do is they get to the singing bush and then they have to ask it for directions or they could like turn left or, you know, something. And so they walk up to this bush that is just like going crazy in the wind, and the most absurd old timey song is just blaring out of this bush. And they keep stopping and looking at it and saying, "Hello, are you the singing bush?" And they just shout this over and over again, and the bush just keeps singing and doesn't respond. And eventually, Steve Martin stops them and he says, "Okay, you know what? My money says this is the singing bush." And that's how I feel that OBS behaves and thinks and acts when it gets to image.ping at the spot. It's like, are you the image? You know what? My money says this is the image. All right, we have a design. So we can finally do something interesting. Okay, so we have a blog. We got a little header here. We have a title. This little byline will be interesting. We have an image. Okay, great. So now I want to make, I kind of wanted to do the list detail. Let's do a list of blog post screen, and then we'll make that thing, adaptive. Is this AI available for everyone? Yeah, stitch.withgoogle.com. This is just on my personal window here. It is not anything that is only available because I am at Google. I try my best to remember to never use any of those things on the stream because people would be really mad at me. So, yeah. All right. Estimated time is 10 seconds to unleash the creativity. And then we ask it for a desktop mode, and then we write some adaptive code. It's going to be extraordinarily exciting. You know, OBS also has a UI to show the chat window to me, so I can just look at OBS and see everything, but it just refuses to populate our stream. I don't know what's going on, but it's really annoying. Also, Stitch is not terribly fast today. Other than that, everything's great. Yeah, so what does the Stitch do exactly? Do you need to pay to use it? New to the stream? Well, welcome to the stream. And you don't need to pay to use it. And you also don't get like the best stuff from it, but it's getting better, I think. So I asked it first for a lo-fi mockup of a blog, and it just kind of gives you some UI. Then you can, you know, care about it or not or whatever. And then, okay. Oh, this is perfect. This is perfect. So I want a list view, and I think this will be more interesting to make adaptive. Great. So now I want to say, make the desktop version of the list of blog posts screen. Wonderful. Please try Figma Make. Oh, I don't really use Figma that much. My wife is a designer and she uses Figma all the time. Figma Make far better than Stitch. Okay. What's the what's like the pricing model of Figma Make? Is it cooking on the next one here? Oh, it looks like you're asking for desktop to switch platforms and design a desktop version of the blog post. You'll need to start a new design thread. Well, literally the whole point of this is to do an adaptive thing. So we'll just make it up ourselves. How about that? Now, another thing that I like to do sometimes is just I haven't really been using AI much for writing like my business logic and whatnot, because it'll just hard code values and not use them from the repository, and then you have to debug it on stream, and you look like a silly dum-dum. But what I do like to use AI to do is write some UI code. So I'm going to ask Gemini, I think, to make a card widget from this screenshot. Go to gemini.google.com, and I'm going to say, please write me a Flutter widget for this UI. And I know I should be using Gemini CLI or something else, but I don't care. So let's upload a file, desktop, this screenshot I just took. See if Flash can do it. Normally I use Pro, but I guess Stitch is not adaptive. I actually think that they've changed something there, because it definitely used to be adaptive. I'm like sure of it. So I went through all the trouble. So I really need to actually click buttons. Oh no, the UI, the the app stopped loading. The app stopped loading new messages. I think maybe there were some moderated messages that the app was not accounting for, and it probably errored. Exciting. Okay, so we have this mindful living card. Okay, well, we're just going to rename it to card, but sure. Where's the copy button for all this code? My brother. Copy contents. All right. Adaptive explorations. It only took us 43 minutes to get started, folks. Hold on to your hats. I'm going to put it in its own window. Exciting. Now, I am using ShadCN here, so actually I'm already realizing that I probably outsmarted myself, because that will have just written the widget in normal Flutter. New file. This will be a blog post card.dart. Paste and immediately fix, because we are not importing Flutter material. We are importing ShadCN. This one, yeah, here we go. ShadCN. All right, what doesn't work? Most of it's fine, but what isn't fine is okay. Well, I don't care about this. Interesting. Let's see how this works. So now I'm going to rename you to a card. I guess blog post card. Randall says the pricing model of Figma Make is send us all your money. That's not as inviting. The repository of this project will be available after the live ends up. Yeah. So earlier, Eric. Oh, I should be able to click that again, because that was before it crashed. Let's see if this still works. Eric was kind enough to type the URL for us. So is this showing? It might be showing. But anyway, it's github.com. My name, Craig Labenz, /Observable Flutter. And everything that I do on Observable Flutter, starting after some point when I thought of it, goes there. All right, I need to use this in a screen. So this will be the blog post card. And on the main screen, we've got a banner. And then I'm just going to put a blog post card. And we are going to run this app, because that's the kind of people we are. We're app runners. It's just the way we were raised. Flutter run. Let's do it in the web again. Is that what I have? Yep. Going web. All right. Yeah, the other great thing about StreamYard, I'm sacrificing a lot to have higher resolution video, and I think audio as well. The audio of my last stream that used StreamYard was like unbelievably bad. But boy, is the hub there great. You can visualize everything. I only have so many windows here. So yeah, so we've got a really nice bit of cores preventing this image from loading. That's just wonderful. So maybe I won't keep doing this. Maybe we'll go Mac OS. But that's not a terrible card that it made. We probably put the byline below the photo. I think that's what was in the image. And otherwise, that's pretty good. So let's just do that real quick. Where's the byline? Image stack, text content? Yeah, I'll fix that later. I think what it's at with values. And then we can say opacity, 0.3. Nope. Alpha. All right. Where's the byline? By Johnny Appleseed. Well, this doesn't make any sense. The byline exists below. Oh, it's a stack. So the image background. All right, we'll fix the image first and then we'll see how things load. But this probably should have been a column, huh? Don't you think? So we need to, I'm going to make this into, because actually seeing the images correctly, loading will be important for the responsive exploration. Flutter, create in this directory, platforms, macOS. I forget if I need the equal sign. Nope. There we go. Wonderful. Flutter run D macOS. Oh, someone behind the scenes helped me out by posting a link to the GitHub repository with a little shortened Google link as well. Wunderbar. Oh, I wonder if we could get a named Google link, Lexi. I'm pretty sure it was your helpfulness that produced that. Could we get goo.gle/observable flutter? That'd be cool. Let's see if that happens. What? Still no image? Oh my gosh. What if the image problem was that it's just like a dummy URL? Placeholder. Yeah, is this like a real placehold.co? Is this a real product thing? Oh, no, it does load an image. It's not a very exciting image, but, you know, I would have preferred for this to load. So let's see here. Why isn't it loading? What is the actual error? Whoops. Terminal. Oh, the terminal is totally wedged. What does the UI say? Oh, connection not permitted. So I didn't realize you couldn't even load images. I guess that does make sense. So we're going to have to go into Xcode and turn on whatchamacallit. I'm telling you, folks, I don't typically make things look easy. Also, since when does an XC workspace load in VS Code? What on earth happened? Open with Xcode, my friends. Xcode. Crazy. That was wild. How did that happen? All right, so we got to do this. And we go to this one, right? And then, where is it? No, maybe it was here. And then capabilities, and then outgoing connections. That's it. I'm going to change my default setting for XE workspace while this launches. Oh, it launched. Invalid image data this time. I just want to show an image. Let's get a new placeholder image thing. Image, placeholder image. Oh my goodness. API. Placehold.co. Yeah. Okay. Well, that was what it just gave us. Lorem Pixum. This is what we want. Yeah. You get a random photo. Love it. This person standing in the woods. Kind of weird. Okay. At least we get a nice aspect ratio here. Still bad. Okay. What is the actual error here? The overflowing render flex has an orientation of axis.vertical. The edge of the render flex that is overflowing has been marked in the rendering with yellow and black stripes. Okay. So it has. That would be because the whole screen is broken. All right, so it actually loads the image. We got some nice little boards here. Oh, I see why the byline was there. All right, we'll go with this. This is great stuff. Great stuff. Let's start making this a little adaptive. First of all, we're going to need to make this a list view, I guess, because I am tired of seeing that. So back on the main screen, instead of this, we'll go list view. Lovely. So now this will just stop whining. Good stuff. Okay, we are finally going to make something adaptive. So the first thing that we want is to remember how anything that I wrote last week works. What do we got? What do we got? There's a simple scaffold. And, oh, the header. I think that's the only thing I actually used, right? Made a UI builder. Where does the UI builder come from? Probably main.dart. Yeah, so we have a UI builder, and it gets some text direction and the constraints, and then it is available via provider. Lovely. Okay, back to the main screen. We pull that in, grab some values from it, and then I'm not really using it yet, but boy, are we about to. Okay, great. So now I have to do something not incoherent. Oh, let's go back and look at the design from Stitch. Nope, what are you? Image saver. Yeah, you had your time. So the first thing that we need are some lists of chips. That's good. And then I really didn't want to have to imagine the desktop version of this myself. I think I'm going to start, instead of the list of chips, I'm just going to use that paragraph tag, and let's get the image cards to kind of fit nicely in the screen. That, I think, will be the start. And then we'll want to center the banner as well. So those are the changes that I want to make to begin. So we don't really need the subheader. I guess I'll leave it there, whatever, I don't know. But this text is going to take the spot of the chips, and I'm going to start mobile because that's the design we have. And so this is actually kind of already pretty good, but I do want to have some consistent horizontal spacing as well. So that's what we're dealing with to begin. So I have the drawer icon padding. What is in my banner? Hello? Main content padding. Okay, that's good. So it seems like the first thing that I would need to do here is put main content padding, I guess, around, let's put it around the whole list view, right? So here we'll have padding, edge, insets dot symmetric with horizontal coming in at uibuilder.content padding. And that is itself actually edge insets. Okay, never mind. And now in my banner, we can get rid of that. That's much nicer. More consistification. Okay. Now we want several postcards. Let's see how this looks. All right, so there's a lot of padding in the postcards as well, it seems. Yeah, look at that. Look at this padding widget. remove widget. Okay, looking good. Okay, now we need some horizontal padding around them, so come back, please. Let's do, I think we just want the padding to be below it. Only below. Bottom. I think we're typing below. Great. Okay, this is pretty good. Now, the padding here is actually like way too much, I think. So I do want to broaden the content. Randall says, I'm going OCD over 2 problems. I don't know how long ago you said that, so I'm not sure which of the many 2 problems there were. But, oh, here, these things. Okay, well, I don't actually care. I'm not going to write tests for this because deleter. What on earth? Because okay, now we're back to 2 problems. I'm going to leave this one for now because I'm going to use that in a second. Also, I really want to put chat on the screen again, so I'm going to restart the other app. Where was it? YouTube Watcher. Oh, Image Saver. Okay, here we go, here we go, here we go. Here we are. Yeah, totally. Null is not a subtype of string. So so it's just going to happen again. The moderated messages, which whoever's moderating the messages, this is not your fault. Don't worry about it. The moderated messages are killing the thing. But I'm not going to go back to that today because we're doing adaptive things. All right. We will not be able to put messages on the screen. Turns out my YouTube Watcher is not ready for prime time. Who would have thought? So I want to make the padding here a little bit nicer. It's pretty different from the UI, which has like a very tight padding. So where was the value of that in the builder? Postcard. No, not in you. Main screen. Here we go. Yeah, the main content padding. So this is the drawer icon size plus some. Oh, that's right. I was having it be inside the drawer icon, and I don't think I want that anymore. Okay, that's actually maybe too tight. So what drawer padding? Oh, the whole point of this was to line it up with the header. That's what we were doing before, but that is not the goal at all anymore. So instead, I think I'm just going to say, let's do all of the constraints dot max width times like 3%. I don't know. Let's see how that looks. So this is going to scale, of course, as the window gets bigger. And don't mind all of this space. We're really actually just looking at the space outside the paragraph. So maybe I want it to keep getting bigger like that, but probably with some minimum, right? So let's clamp this. And I think our minimum can be like, let's try 12. And then our maximum will just be double dot infinity. Refresh. 12 is too small, I think. Is that really 12 pixels? All right, let's try 24. I don't know. Yeah, okay. I think that's pretty good. All right, we obviously need some spacing after the header area. So my banner, let's go into this and give it some like bottom padding around everything. Yeah, remember that padding widget I just deleted? This is like when break up with your significant other and then realize, what was I doing? What a terrible mistake I've made. I don't think I'm going to need the UI builder for this, he said as he copies and pastes it into place. I don't think I'm going to scale this bottom padding. We'll just kind of leave it consistent. No, I will scale it. I will scale it. So we'll say UI builder dot, let's call it like element vertical padding, and then we can use it everywhere. So our element vertical padding is back in the UI builder. Edge insets, get element vertical padding. Oh, I meant to write get there. There we go. Edge in sets dot only, and this will have some bottom padding. And that bottom padding is going to be probably scaling based on the height of things. I don't know if that's going to be good or not. Constraints.max height times 0.05. I don't know. And then let's clamp it. Again, minimum of 24. And I'm going to make 24 a magic number here. Double get or a static const. Let's call this base padding. Minimum padding from which we may scale up for larger screens. And this will be minimum padding around individual UI elements. Okay, so base padding goes here. Boy, do I not know why that made that upset. Oh, because it's an integer and it needs to be a double. Okay. So then base padding, and this will go to double dot infinity. What's the problem? Can't be returned from the function. Oh, clamp is not in the right spot. Okay. Can I use gap on the list view? Oh yeah, I never use gap, but not for any good reason. I probably, I'll look into that in just a second. I'm clicking on chat messages in the UI here of YouTube Studio, because again, I'm just outsmarting myself. Okay, so we've got this nice padding here, and I do want to put that, I'm going to use that on the cards so that they all look the same. UI builder, which I need to pull in. And then we need to have some imports. And then this is no longer const. And the whole thing was, it is the edge insets. Okay. All right. That's starting to look better. We have nice padding at the bottom as well. That's all working. Okay. Where are the constraints coming from? He said as he clicked the message again. Oh, never mind. Yeah, so there's a layout builder. I don't know if it ended up appearing on the screen. I think the layout builder is coming all the way from main.dart. Yeah. Layout builder is basically the first widget. So we can, now obviously this could be like, I could be using the media query. I wonder if there's a difference. I've actually never thought about this before. Like if you have a root layout builder, is it better to just use the media query? I don't know if there's a functional difference there. I haven't thought about that. Okay. So now let's see how this behaves as we kind of expand out. Obviously, at this point, it needs to become a grid view at some point. And it's possible that it could just be a grid view the whole time, because if it was, then we could just kind of dynamically set the amount of columns to either be like 1, 2, or 3. I think that is the play. So what I'm going to do is ask Gemini to write me a widget that uses a custom scroll view and contains a grid view. I will not pretend that I have any idea how to do that off the top of my head, but I will pretend that Gemini has an idea how to do that off the top of its head. So I will say, dearest sweet Gemini, would you please write me a Flutter widget that uses a custom scroll view to include both arbitrary content and a grid view which I'll say grid view. I think there's like a custom grid view that we're going to have to use, but I don't know the name of it, and I'll let Gemini sort that out. And a grid view, actually just period, right? Flutter widget that uses a custom scroll view to include arbitrary content and a grid view. Yes, that's what I want. Vibe debugging. Not sure the media query changes on window resize. I do believe it does. I think that is extraordinarily the point. Actually, you know, it's kind of an interesting question here. This is a little side detour. I want to go into the layout builder and see, does it just use the media query? No, that can't be the case at all, of course, because it uses the space from its available TIT. The thing that I was wondering is if it was true. Makes absolutely no sense. Okay, well, great. We ruled that out. That was really fast. Gemini will happily pretend. Boy, is that the case. Well, let's see what we get. Oh, well, at least it would be happy to. So the custom scroll view is perfect. That's great. I'll use a sliver list, sliver grid. Yeah, that's what it is. So I'm going to use Dartpad to quickly verify this. Copy. Dartpad.dev. In the old darter patter. Here we go. Nice. No errors. Till we run it. And then we see. I do want to replace this image because placehold.co wasn't working. Let's see. While this cooks, I'm going to come back here and get the other image out of this card. I'll use that instead if we need to. All right. Lots of placehold.co errors. We love to see it. So we had 800 by 200. And I'll go back to that error or that ratio. 800, 200. And where are the other ones? Yeah. So these ones are 400 by 200. Okay. And that's that. Okay, run again. See how this works. It's kind of funny how nice. This is exactly what we want. Exactly what we want. Oh, nice. This is pretty good. It also kept, because it was in the same chat script or the same conversation, same thread, it kept the like mindful retreat vibes because that happened to be the random image that it loaded. Import shadcn on Dartpad. Oh, I should add shadcn to Dartpad. That's such a good idea. And the other one. Both shadcn Flutter and shadcn UI. They should both be there. All right, this is wonderful. And now I just want to add some space to the bottom just to see how that works. So there is already some padding. That's great. And now I will say text, footer, and then let's get some more padding below that. And we'll just verify for ourselves that everything is wonderful. No. What? Okay, sliver list delegate. So that's the list delegates. Am I like out of the list? No, the list ends here. Whoa. What is the problem? Oh, everything has to be a sliver. Yeah. You can't just put random things in the, so sliver padding, right? What's the like base sliver? Or like the base sliver widget. I'm gonna ask Gemini because I don't know. How did my interaction with Gemini increase my productivity? Oh no, not how did it, just did it. Well, I'm not gonna lie, it did. It did. And oh my gosh. How much do you feel like your interaction with Gemini increased your knowledge beneficially? Well, it's about to. After you know what? I did already know this information. Like Kate Lovett has told me about slivers 1,000 times. So I'm going to mark this one down a little bit because I did already know some about slivers. When will this survey end? How much do you feel like your interaction with Gemini increased empowerment and my ability to carry out related tasks? I mean, empowerment? I'm not really writing these widget names to memory, so I'm going to give this one neutral. Okay. What is the name of the base sliver widget that I would wrap arbitrary render box widgets with to include in the sliver list. It's really simple. Nah, but I don't remember what it is. Sliver to box adapter. There we go. And I think then we just give that a child situation. Child. Run. It probably tried to write an example for me. So I could have padding. Yeah, regular. That ain't going to work. Container. Nice. Oh, look at that footer. And it's got padding above and below it. This is the best. I love how you all already knew this. Yeah. Copy paste says it's sliver to box adapter. NBD. Text footer is the issue. Wrap it with sliver to box adapter. Yeah, I forgot to check chat. You all know. Of course you knew. Okay, so this is pretty good. So now the task is to adapt our UI to use the custom scroll view. So I'll switch back over here. Oh yeah, wow, the text I just realized in Dartpad was really small. Same with Gemini. But we are going to UI builder here. Don't care about the basic file anymore. Don't care about this. Yeah, we are just here. So this list view is going to be a custom scroll view. And a custom scroll view has slivers, not children. Any Magic the Gathering players here? Love Sliver Queen, you know? I played slivers. I played slivers back in the day when I played Magic as a kid, and I thought they were super fun. Also because they're really simple, and again, you know, I have a very smooth brain. But what's funny about it now is like the art on the Sliver Queen card is just repulsive. So Magic the Gathering Sliver Queen. And so, you know, I actually had multiple of these cards that I bought at a card show for like $5 or $10 or something. Not bad return on investment. But this, you know, this isn't really like the kind of title or like vibe that Kate is going for, but she is the master of slivers. And so you could imagine this name, right? But I can't do that to her. She's the best, so we can't. Oh, wow, look at this completely uninspired bit of art. What on earth have they done? This is terrible. I mean, it's like fine art, I guess. It's kind of giving me like Sarah Kerrigan vibes from StarCraft. Not really. Not doing it for me like this. This is. Anyway, what are we doing? Converting widgets. That's what we're doing. I swear. Okay, so this delegate, Sliver Child thingy thing. Sliver Child list delegate. Oh, interesting. This padding is not wrapped with. Ideally, all of these widgets would have been wrapped in another Sliver Child delegate. That's what it would have been. So I guess I'll do that. And this will wrap everything in a list. So that'll just get like our paragraph. All right, so in the banner. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I got to do it at this level, don't I? So we get this going. That's good stuff. So this is our sliver list delegate. Oh, and I think I need one more. Very good. Okay. Maybe more will appear here one day. And now this is stuff, all these blog post cards. This is what we turn into the grid. So skip down to the grid and we get the grid delegate. It's all this fun stuff. I'm just going to copy all of this, I believe. Yep. Thank you. Okay, sliver grid, that's good. So this, the cross-axis count, this is what our UI builder is about to decide, or we'll set some breakpoints. And I guess it might provide all these values. Now our delegate here, the builder delegate, Sliver child delegate. I'm willing to hard code these. So like, do you exist? This does exist, but it's abstract. Which one should I use for hard coded things? I actually don't really care about that. That's not the point of this. So I will. Oh, child count. Here we go. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Good stuff. Okay, now let's get a little footer as well. And I will use the sliver delegate again. Or sorry, the sliver list. So we'll put a footer down here, and this banner will just say text footer. Real simple. Oh, we got some MTG players. All hail the Sliver Queen. That's right. But that one art, didn't it look like Sarah Kerrigan from StarCraft? I don't know if we have any StarCraft players. I know they've had some like mashups between, Wizards and. Have they done mashups with Blizzard? Maybe I'm just making this up. Feels like they should. They'd all make a lot of money. Where's the window I'm looking for here? Okay, so we got our grid, hard-coded to 2, enormous padding, and a footer below it. So this is just great. Now, we got to make... Oh my gosh, this is so much padding. All right. So, how did this work? Main axis spacing 10. 10 what? I mean, that's a lot more than 10 pixels. Main axis spacing. Yeah, it's more than 10 pixels, right? 10 what? I don't know what that is. Let's see if the things tell us. So, yeah, main axis spacing. Logical pixels between each child along the main axis. Wow. Felt really big. Child aspect ratio. Yeah, I suppose it would be good to commit to some aspect ratios. This aspect ratio looks fine, so I think that's okay. Oh, yeah. They went in the wrong direction. What is happening? Sliver grid. The blog post doesn't have horizontal padding anymore. It just has a smidgen of vertical padding. That's fine. Oh, it's that they're just not that big. They don't like grow that much. Okay. So now these 2 pixels actually look quite small. Interesting. So if they don't fill their space, then there's like some funkiness here. So this, I don't understand what the aspect ratio parameter is doing, because boy, is their aspect ratio changing. Like, that is not working. It's definitely, oh wow, what a funny thing. This is kind of silly. Huh. I think I'm just gonna ask Gemini what I should do to fix this. My card's aspect ratio changes as I resize the window. I would have expected the child aspect ratio property. I'm not gonna lie, I don't really use grid views that much, and it shows. To fix their aspect ratio, what is going on? Oh, look at me asking this to Dartpad, like literally the dumbest person to ever live. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. The footer ideally should be silver fill remaining. That, you are absolutely correct on that. And again, because I learn all silver things from Kate, she told me about that recently, and I thought, what a cool widget. And then Eric made a widget of the week on it. So now we can all know about silver fill remaining. That's a great call. All right, so someone's saying the idea would be to make aspect ratio static and axis count dynamic. Yeah. That sounds right. Dartpad is adding Gemini. They actually do have a thing for it. There's a button you can click. I don't think I've ever really clicked it, but okay. Anyway, oh yeah, let's see. What did Gemini say? An excellent observation. You've hit on a common point of confusion when working with Flutter's grid layouts. The issue is likely not the child aspect ratio property itself, but how the internal content of your grid items is laid out, specifically the usage of column within the card. Here's a breakdown of what's happening. In your Silver Grid definition, we have this stuff. Child aspect ratio does fix the aspect ratio of the grid cell. If the width of the grid cell changes as the window resizes, the height of the cell is adjusted to maintain the aspect ratio. Okay. Why your card still appears to change. So card, padding, column, blah, blah, blah. This is the key. I always love it when Gemini does this. Okay, what about it? When the height of the outer card changes, the column inside the card attempts to take up all the available vertical space. Another thing that I notice when I use Gemini to write my UI code is like, if I wrote this UI code, A, it would have taken longer, but B, I would have found it fun to turn my brain on to try to figure out the problem. But since I didn't even write it, I don't find it very inviting. It's like, you know, every time somebody asks the American president a question that's awkward because it's about something terrible that he's doing, he's like, oh, I don't know. I've never heard of that. I don't know what that is. It's like, you never know what anything is. That's how I feel toward all of this code that Gemini wrote. And it's like, I don't want to look at that. I never heard of that. I don't know what that is. When the height of the outer card changes, the column inside the card attempts to take up all the available vertical space. The image has a fixed height. The size box widgets have fixed heights. And the text widget has height determined by the font size and the number of lines. That makes sense. If the grid size is taller, so is it just that the text is resizing? I don't think that's the entirety of it. I really don't. Because the text was like disappearing eventually, right? The text size changing is not responsible for this. So Gemini is just saying things that like sound plausible, but are not the actual answer. I think what we kind of almost need, we need like a, well, honestly, the way I handle all this stuff is to use this UI builder and like size things. Maybe that's what we need to be doing. It's actually the entire point of this, now that I think about it. So I, in fact, will have to look at this code that Gemini wrote and treat it as my own. Why am I using AI? Somebody says. It's a great question. It's like doing code reviews and fixing junior devs' work for them. Except this time, I'm also the junior dev. What do you think about using the width property of the size object to create responsive interfaces? So that, I mean, certainly can work, but then the widget inside that size box needs to, adjust itself up and down accordingly. All right, so it's time to look at this little postcard thing. Let's see what we got going on here. First of all, this border radius is probably also like going to need change. We're going to want less border radius on smaller windows than we will on a big window. So let's open up the UI builder and fix it. So, always struggling with how to allocate screen real estate. Screen real estate or space he was going for, and he said real estate. Double get. So this will be the card border radius. And that will be, so we know that 16 was the starting number for mobile, so I think we want to scale it up based on that. So let's say constraints dot max. Do we think this is going to be better scaled on height or width? I think width. Yes. Max width times, I don't even know. I'm just going to pick a random value and then clamp it and see if that looks good. Clamp, we know 16 was good for mobile, and then probably 24 maybe could be a good max for this. And so our, oh no, this is going to be way too big. Let's do like 0.02 or something. Okay, so this is fine. Does it? The aspect ratio, I think, stays too big when we get really small. Also, I need to fix the amount of axes first, and then we'll come back to that. So in the cross-axis count, this here we'll say UI builder dot grid cross-axis count. This will have to get rid of const. Grid cross-axis count will become a value. Randall says, I guess not. Oh, this is why you should use stadium borders. Oh yeah, I don't want stadium borders for this, but if I was like making those pills for the categories, then yeah, 100% stadium border. Okay, int grid, get grid cross-axis count. All right, so I think I'm just gonna have like some breakpoints here. So let's do a little switch. We'll do some pattern matching on constraints.max width. And we want to say if it's like, let's say less than 500, I don't know, 1. If it's less than 900, 2, and otherwise, can't type, it's a problem, 3. Refresh. 3. Waiting for 2. Not getting it. Oh, there's an error. Too many positional arguments. Huh? How did I do that? Nice. All right. 3. Good, good, good. Drop to 2. Love it. Drop to 1. Okay. So that's, not the most complicated thing in the world. But now we need to get these actual images to behave accordingly. And they are not set up to really work that well until we get very big. I think I'm going to add the UI to the screen. That's a nice little debugger. So if I go to the main screen, our scaffold, we can add some footers. Right? Yeah. Put a little padding around this footer. Child. No. Well, I will have a child in a second. Padding, edge, insets, all. I don't really care about making this responsive. It's just debug information. What's the issue here? The child argument should be the last widget. Okay. So here we'll say text, and this is going to be our UI builder dot constraints dot max width times UI builder dot constraints dot max height. There we go. Whoops, come back. All right. So our width here is 725. So that, oh no, sorry, it's 1390, whatever. Okay. So yeah, we got our breakpoint at 900. Love it. All right. So now I can see, like, when does it actually make sense to jump to 3? I'm doing it at 900, but then the things are pretty small. Actually, I think I'm going to keep that. My challenge is to get these cards to be more responsive than they are. Okay. Back to the postcard. So this border radius, oh, I know why the border radius didn't change when I was doing this earlier. I didn't use the value. No wonder. Okay, so I'm expecting the border radius to get smaller. I think it is, and then it gets bigger. Yeah, okay. So the border radius does seem to be working. Back to the rest of the card. Let's put the UI builder over here so we can read the whole thing. Okay. So we've got Oh, the max width of our image here is set to an arbitrary number. Should we be using a layout builder in here to get local constraints? I feel like yes. Max width for the tablet desktop view. I don't know. Like, what happens if I just don't have these constraints? Then what does the UI do? Honestly, not detectably different. Okay, bye. There's a color, that's fine. A column, we got our image stack, and then the text content. So let's see this image stack. Would it be helpful if this was like the same aspect ratio as the... Oops. So I made it shorter, which would make them look fatter, which it does. I think part of this is I need to actually just decide, what do I even want this to do? Like in this space, this is kind of an awkward spot here where we're the smallest size the thing is really going to be. We're really just at the low end of any of the breakpoints, right? Before it drops down to 1, it gets really small. And then at the smallest possible thing, it gets really small. And I think maybe what we need to do is have a layout builder in this card and just decide, like at some point, maybe we just drop the text entirely. Simon says, how are you laying out the grid? It looks like they have fixed height. Yeah, so just remove the constraints. So we agreed on that. You can wrap the image stack in an expanded and remove the height limit. All right, all right. Let's give that a try. So our image stack was its own method. Oh, it's right here. Okay. So to remind ourselves, this stack exists in a column. So that's why the expanded makes sense. I'm going to think through and understand Simon's recommendation before I blindly type it, because this came from a person and not Gemini. So if we wrap it in and expand it, it's going to take as much space as it can after the text is laid out, right? That's the point. Oh, and then this is the next thing you said. This way, the top of the card changes its height and the text section wraps its height. Yeah, so I think with expanded, right, the other things get to go first, and then our image would expand into the remaining space. This seems reasonable. And this expanded widget, oh, right, you need a child parameter. Okay. All right, see how this goes. Oh, look at that. You got the text, and then the widget gets smaller. Nice. So there's still some issue. This is a huge improvement. Now, but the text in the image needs to be resized specifically here. So this is a place where I think we're going to need probably a layout builder. I don't think the UI builder is going to be able to help. We just need to know our available width. And that is happening in, what is the right place to put it? We could put the layout builder all the way up top. I think that makes sense. And then we could pass the value down. Let's try that. So I'm going to wrap this in a layout builder. Is there a different builder? Here we go. Builder. Layout. Constraints. Okay, so now the text content can take some constraints dot max width. And then the method, I should have command clicked on it. Double max width. And now we start to scale the font size. Here we go. So I kind of need like a base font size that we're going to build against. So where does this work nicely? I'm going to go down to when it's just 1. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, there's some also issues when it's like a little too big than the, yeah, we do have a couple issues here. but it's okay. Can sort it out. So the text kind of... Oh, also the text is going to be of different lengths, isn't it? Like right now it's this fixed sentence. But what is this doing again? This is in the column, so this is outside the stack. Oh, but the image stack is where this is. That's where a guide to mindful living is. Oh, I put this in the wrong method. Put it in the wrong method. There's your problem. Okay. Add max lines 3, Simon says, to the text. I'm guessing that for this, he means down here, which I think is on the text itself and not on the style max lines. Yeah. Oh, we don't want it. We want it on the whole paragraph. Max lines 3. Pretty sure that's what he means. That's a good idea. All right, so I want to think about getting this stack to actually look nice. And the first thing I need to do is actually understand how this stack is constructed. I haven't even read this code yet. So we have a unconstrained image. So this is going to try to fill as much space as possible. Oh, the other thing I believe Simon said was to remove the height. So that makes sense. Now we do have double box fit. Our fit is cover. Reminders as small as possible while still covering the entire target box. Perfect. Background color, that's fine. Blend mode, whatever. Okay, so this makes sense. And Simon did say to get rid of the height, which I didn't do. That is probably going to solve that little padding at the top issue that we were seeing. So anyway, this image, again, unconstrained in the stack. The next thing is some padding. So again, this will fill the whole thing, provide us a little padding around everything. And then we got a column. So there's no positioning here. Everything takes up the full space. The stack is just for z-index stuff. So we get a column, and the cross-axis is start. That's good. I feel like we kind of need an expanded at the top of this to push everything to the bottom, unless there's a main axis alignment. And of course, there probably is main axis alignment. Main axis. Oh, wait, am I on? Haha. Star 3.10. So nice. I don't think font weight is going to work. Oh, maybe it will. Hey, all right. So I think we maybe want to expand it above this, but let's go back and see here. Okay, this is looking pretty good. Gosh, the hardest part of this whole stream is clicking on the edge of the window. Oh no, it's still super broken on small sizes. Yeah, because I'm not shrinking the font. That's right, that's right. But it's like pretty good until... Oh, it really just starts to get wonky. I'm going to read some chat again. Yeah, scale the font size. Yep. That definitely got to do that now. Max lines 3 for the text content. Simon was saying, yeah, I think that's where I put it. All right. Font size scaling time. So here we have our max width available. And I think we can say in this font size, I'm going to make... We need just like some kind of base width variable. So const base width is like 420. I think that's about the logical width of a mobile device or something like that. Let's make it 400, a nice round number. So this is a pseudo arbitrary number about a smartphone's width, around which we can scale text sizes. Great. So then we have a multiplier, which will be final font size multiplier, and that's going to equal the max width over the base width. And now we can use the font size multiplier. I think with this, we're going to have to make these numbers smaller as well. Let's try like 10. And then down here, let's try 18 or something. Got problems. Don't we all, brother? Don't we all? Oh, somehow this one was not const already. Okay. UI, please return to me. Where have you gone? Where is the UI? Let's see. We're going to read some chat real quick here. You could use text scalar factor by wrapping the whole thing with media query, though. Yeah, but we don't want to do that because then, oh, yeah. Simon's talking about a minimum font size. We don't want to use don't want to override text scaling because then we will take away someone's ability to modify all this text size in their actual UI in their phone. I don't know why this wasn't coming up. Okay, this is really small. Too small. But behaving a bit better. We also need to shrink this text as well. Okay, so this is, let's see, why is it too small? Because this number is also, I think, just too small. I wonder why it wasn't coming up before. It was interesting. Oh, we're getting some bigger font here. This is like pretty reasonable. And then it goes down, it gets down, it gets down, bigger, 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 smaller, smaller, smaller. It gets really small. Okay, so it doesn't quite work at the smallest size. Like right here, it's not good, and it's probably not going to be good right before it shrinks. Oh, no, actually. Oh, it could mean the break size is a little, because at the smallest of 3, it's good. Although I do need to shrink this text. No, actually, I don't think I want to shrink this body text. I think 900 is too small for 3. I'm going to make it like 1200. And then what do I have as the smallest for 2? I think it's also too small. I'm going to make that like 600. We'll go 600 and 1200. So our UI builder, 600, 1200. All right. Ooh, that does get big. Right there, it's like, oh boy, really chunky. But then we'll still have the issue when we get all the way down to a tiny little, smallest possible mobile. Again, I don't think I care about too much smaller than 400. I think that's basically the smallest that a phone actually has. So this actually feels good. If I say 400 is the smallest UI that I want to accommodate, we're good here. This padding is obviously too big for a small font, so I'm going to adjust this element padding. But yeah, no, this is pretty good. Element padding, where was that? Element vertical padding. So we have a base padding here. Oh, yeah, it's just too much. I think 12 is a pretty common base padding. I don't know why I thought 24 was the value that I needed before. Oh, it's still really big. So I guess my math is also bad here. Where's the padding? Vertical padding. Element. There we go. Height times 0.05. I guess it's too big of a number we're calculating. All right, that's a little better. Got a footer. Oh, wait, why are we able to go so far down below the footer? All right, so Simon was saying something about the math here. He said, do minimum font size plus font delta times the scale. That way you always have at least a minimum font size, right? So minimum font size 12, font delta 4, and then I'm not 100% sure what you're imagining for how we calculate the scale. Is that the like width divided by the base width? I think that makes sense. Let me try this. that was up here. Okay, so we could have, I'll put this on the UI builder, I think, minimum font size. Double get minimum font size 12. Provided by Simon Lightfoot in the chat. Guaranteed to be good. Take it up with him if it is not. It is literally not my problem. Leave me alone. I swear to God. There we go. All right, so we have the minimum font size, and you are advising we do that plus the font delta times the scale, and the font delta is 4. Oh yeah, okay, so I gotta do the same thing here. Let's try this out. Font delta 4. Okay, so we still have this. So now well, let's just say, oh, the thing, what I don't really have for this is a way to make like the byline. I need kind of a dynamic input to all of this. Right, there was like a base font size that's not just the minimum. I wonder if I should be doing clamp over this. I think there's some element to the math that you're proposing here, Simon, that I'm not 100% following. You said it scales everything and maintains the aspect ratio. Oh, that's fitted box. Okay, that's unrelated. So the small sign is like min lines 2. Change the number of min lines based on size also. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm going to read some more chat here. I think people have been probably putting a lot of wisdom in here. I'm just ignoring. Philippe says, what about device text scaling for accessibility? You end up with overflow 100%. Yeah, I mean, the next test is to then go through and work on that. That is honestly just, I mean, scaling the UI, would probably have to do is like detect that and then factor that into the breakpoints for cards. So if someone has bigger text, then you allow each card to have more space. I think that'd be the only way you could do it. Scale is just a ratio of 0 to 1, whatever you want to divide to get your range. Oh, okay. So if scale was 0 to 1, so I see. So then you have min font size. So if that was 12 and then font delta was 4, so you're basically saying this scales entirely from 12 at the minimum to 16 at the maximum. Got it. Okay, that makes sense. Continuing to read what people have written. Talking about liquid glass, of course. Font delta can be up to the type of the heading or the text you're displaying. Okay, all right. Now I see. Now I see. I don't have any knowledge about Flutter. Okay, so last thing Simon said, think of min as being the base. Yep. And then the amount on top is the delta. Yep. Okay. Yep. Makes sense. That makes sense. It helps to read all of the things that people write if you want to understand what they have written. So now I'm wondering, do we want to like have these text widgets be broken out into their own widget, which gets, you know, kind of keeps track of that base size? Because otherwise all that logic is just going to be in this kind of surrounding thing, and I don't really want to put it there. All right, it is 1050. I think I'm going to work on a quick text widget and then be done for today. So this we'll call apptext.dart, and we will import shadcn. Can also kind of lean into a little shadcn stuff here. So class, we'll call this apptext extends stateless widget. And it is ultimately going to return this widget. Oops. Okay, so we are going to, in our build method, return this thing. This is good stuff. Okay. And then we need an optional style, text style. No, we'll call it style, right? Except, of course, this needs to go here. And then we have to like merge these text styles. So I'm already regretting doing this. All right, our secondary text color, where did you come from? I'm not doing styling yet. That is not happening in this. We are just doing layout, so I don't really care about that. All right, now we're ready to start worrying about these different styles. So I wonder if it makes sense to have different constructors here, right? So I could say factory app text dot headline, and that'll get a string of text and an optional text style, which will be a named parameter. And what we can do here, okay, we also have to have the required this dot base size and required this dot delta. So that's kind of the key. Final double base size and final double size delta, we'll call it. Delta is a little ambiguous. Size delta. All right, so here we can emit an app text. That's going to be text. And the base size we would like pull out of the theme or something. But for now, we'll say this headline is the base size 14, 16? I don't know. I think I did actually 8. Whatever. I'm just going to pick a value. Size delta can be 8, something fairly big. And then the style will get passed through if we did one. And then we could have the like, we'll call this help text maybe, and like also used for bylines. Seems vaguely appropriate. 12.4, we use those old values. That's pretty good stuff. So now our final font size, oh, right, and the whole point was to know the available width, which I think we can grab with a layout builder here. This is maybe a little crazy. I need to look at chat quite soon. So, oh, goodness gracious. So the full algorithm was the base size plus the delta times the scale. So got to figure out the scale, and this was size delta. So still have to calculate the scale, and this requires, I don't know if the algorithm, like the approach that I was using before, is really going to make any sense, but I'll start with, oh, of course this has to go in here. So scale is going to equal constraints.max width times, or divided by a value. I don't know if this really makes sense as a way to get the scale. We also would really want to take in things like the max lines parameter and like figure that out a little bit. I'm not sure. I'm going to go with this for now. We'll see if those widgets are fun to use or not. So this is going to be app text, and I'll import it, and it's .byline. No, helper. Help text? What did I call it? Help text. And then up here, where's the headline? This one was app text.headline. And I'm not using the style at all. So I don't want to pass in sizes on these font these styles anymore. I'm just going to use their colors. So then we have to get a style. So this is going to be theme.of context.typography because we're using shadcn, and I'll just grab the base style if one is not passed in. And this is a little incongruent with like how shadcn works with typography, so I'd also have to think about that. But whatever for now. Because the whole idea for shadcn and typography is you make this text a headline by doing like H1 or, you know, a P tag or an H2 or 3 or whatever. And I'm not really exposing that so much because I would need to pull this from, I would need to like look at the wrap text widget and whatnot, but I'm not worrying about that for now. So app text, anyway, yeah, so we get the base style, and then if this style is not none, we merge it in. So this is the base style, and we say if style does not equal null, then base style dot merge, and then we pass in the style, and I think this is the correct direction. The other gets merged into this, is that right? Returns a new text style that is a combination of this text style and the other. If the given other has a text style, blah, 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 so to inherit, then null properties are replaced with non-null properties on this. Okay, I think this is what we want. But then this is going to have to not be final. And then we use base style here. Oh, but I have to give it this size value. Where does it make sense to do that? This is also a little awkward because I am kind of overriding the size. Oh, how do I want to do this? Oh, this is a really, 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 really bad widget. There's like so many problems with this widget. Let me see what we got in chat. I have a recommendation for a better way to do this on sizing grid of Flutter. It's more about building a more custom widget. You can use a prototype widget. The problem with grid view is that it's fixed aspect ratio. Interesting. Simon, if you want to come on and work on some adaptive, like kind of custom layouts together, that'd be super fun. Love to have you on. Yeah, the aspect ratio stuff that you're talking about here is definitely a little interesting. So this widget that we're writing is like extraordinarily terrible because the whole point was to scale the font size. Yet it isn't really, there's not an elegant way to allow this style to actually be passed in and to do this sizing. So I do think I actually want, oh man, totally at time. This is stinky. I do want to go to the banner widget and look at the wrapped text. No, I want my banner, silly. So let's look at this wrapped text widget. Okay, so how does this work? So it sets the style. And wrapped text is probably just going to supply like a theme or something. Yes, it provides a new theme. And it default text style merges everything from, okay, interesting. All right, lots of stuff. Wrap text. Where's like build? Oh, that's what I was literally looking at. All right, I kind of want to follow their thing. Oh, but they don't, there's not really a way. They don't have the idea of a responsive size here. What does make sense? All right, I think we kind of can't follow this that well. It's a little awkward. Text widgets kind of need almost like a builder thing, like a text builder. Is that what I should do? Should app text be a builder that gets the layout information and the style? That's interesting. I think what's just awkward about this, what I'm stuck on, is that if you accept a size, then you know, if you accept a style, styles can have sizes. And it would just be confusing to accept a style which has a size and then you like sneakily override it with all of our, this algorithm that we're working on of the base size, blah, blah, blah. Right. So like the simple thing that we're working on right now, we get rid of the font weight, we get rid of all this stuff. This would be style.copyWidth, or actually base style is what we're kind of going with. Base style.copyWidth, and I'd use the size. So like this is the completion of the current thought process, but the awkwardness is that we've accepted this style object and we've merged it in, and that could have a size and it could have been set, and then it's just like, LOL, it's being overridden. So this is not like good Flutter code. But if there was a builder parameter, that like could possibly work, but I am just at time, unfortunately. Let's see. I'm going to read some chat here. I think I am going to have to just call it, unfortunately. What is the factory keyword, Brian asks. So there's two different kinds of constructors in Dart. There's generative constructors, which don't instantiate an object. So you know something is a generative constructor. Yeah, if you're not making an object yourself, which means the Dart VM is what is actually making this app text object. You can set some parameters and you can kind of have little finalizers here where you say like some field equals some value, and then that'll be set immediately. But this is a generative constructor because it actually makes an object. You can also have other things like static methods that yield instances of an object, or factory constructors, which are quite similar to static methods, which yield instances of an object. And they must actually, you can do a lot of work in a factory constructor and they offer a lot of convenience, but they must delegate to a generative constructor. And that is what that keyword is. Chris says, just don't take the style. Have to only take in the style properties you want. Oh, yeah, that could be. That's interesting. But then we're like reinventing style. I think that is basically right. There is some awkwardness there because it's like you have to totally allow list all the properties you want to take, but it definitely gets rid of this problem. Anyway, I am super interested in how you all. Oh, I'm highlighting things. I don't think I even have, not even, yeah, I was just highlighting things because I'm not good. But I'm on this view right now. I've been doing this for a minute, actually, I think. Sorry, folks. Anyway, I don't need to go back. I was highlighting stuff for the constructors as well. It's really good of me. I would love to hear, you can at me on either Twitter, which I don't check very often, but I do every now and then and sometimes respond to things, or Blue Sky. I would love to see how folks are having like, or just dynamically resizing text and exposing that to the rest of your app via really clear, like a clear reusable API. Because the other thing it could have done in the blog post card is just like kind of suck it up and do the logic here, right? But that is obviously not exciting. I think there's some, like, that's not reusable, and then, you know, it's not dry and it's bad for all the reasons, right? Everywhere where I want to have this headline, I got to remember to make a change. So obviously that's super bad, but it would be really simple. I think there's maybe something like if we did a text widget and then I use the H1 that like this. So this is a kind of a shad CN pattern. And then I would basically not pass in this style. I wonder if I could make maybe my own extension method that, you know, I could have this be like dynamic or something. Well, obviously not because that's a keyword. And that would be another extension that does some size calculations and passes it into the wrap text, like something like that. But I don't know what it is, and I'm out of time for now. Anyway, there's an ant walking across my monitor, which is a surprising development because I'm not near the outside of the world and I don't want an ant in here. So I'm going to go take care of that. Folks, this has been a great episode of Observable Flutter. At least it was for me. I'm sorry for all of you who had to suffer through it. I enjoyed myself exploring different ways to dynamically resize and lay out apps. I think how to do this with text is, at a minimum, an outstanding question for me. I'm curious how you're all working on it. Share some gists, some Dartpad links, whatever. I think it'd be really fun to kind of explore and like figure out some patterns. Also, those of you who've already shipped like 1,000 apps have presumably solved this problem and have those patterns. So you just like go copy and paste it in Dartpad. I'd love to see all of those things. But that will do it for today. So folks, until next time, happy fluttering.